They changed all the combinations on the locks. Did you hear that?
No.
Yeah, they changed all the locks and didn't tell anybody.
Which locks? Locks on what?
Hold on.
Find a seat. There's seats up front, classroom, please. Students, you can come up front. Find a seat. Find a seat. There's some people that are not finding a seat. JR went to the library. He's coming back. All right. Okay. All right, I want to welcome everyone to the September 12th meeting, 2025, of the New Jersey Antique Radio Club here on the campus of InfoAge. Can everybody hear me? Hear you okay? Okay, we have our new sound system here. It's Altec Lansing via China, okay? So it does a little bit of everything for us, and we'll be using that from now on with this wireless mic. All right. Any new faces in the group here? Any new faces? We have, there's lots of faces we haven't seen in a while, but nobody new, right? Okay, that's okay. All right, good. All right, infirmary report. All right, this past month we lost a longtime club member, Jan Grave, okay? Now, Jan was the wife of Pete Grave, and she succumbed to breast cancer. It was August 13th, 2025. So at the age of 84. There'll be a remembrance for her and repast, a luncheon Sunday, November 2nd. I'll send out notices when we get closer to that date, okay, as to where it will be in the time. I'd like you to please stand as a tribute to Jan and certainly her husband Pete, who we all knew for so long. All right, thank you. Okay, next. Status quo. Is it status quo, John Ruccolo, on Sal?
Well, you can tell people what I told you.
Well, they like to hear it from the horse's mouth.
Come on up, Mr. Ed.
You have to speak directly into this one.
Hello? Is this on? The news is, what? What? Oh. It's not all that encouraging. I exchanged text with Lisa a couple days ago, and you know, he's sleeping about 18 hours a day. Kind of depends on his aide for pretty much everything. He's obviously slipped back a bit. Rich and I saw him in late June at the
rehab,
the Care One Center, and I thought he was doing really well. But, so, I wish I had better news, but I don't.
All right, thank you, John. Thank you.
Get this off of me.
You're welcome. Is there anyone else I should know about that would be in our infirmary report? Does that mean everybody's doing well? Well, it does in the sense that I see both our own Neville and Bob. So happy to see you guys this evening. And at the same time, too, that's wonderful that you're doing well. Bob, are you doing well or what?
I'm doing much better. I'm not 100%, but I'm probably about 70% there right now. So just a little weak there, but I'm getting there, and I'm definitely with the help of my lovely assistant right here. She's going to help me deal with Kutztown Friday and Saturday.
Does your wife know about her?
What's that?
Does your wife know about her?
Thanks, buddy.
All right, that's good to hear. Nev, how are you doing?
Quite well, although I can say it was a very expensive weight loss program.
Are the bills coming in?
Yeah.
Should we take up a collection, GoFundMe page?
Maybe that too.
Oh, that's why you're selling your stuff. All right. But, all right, so we're very happy to see you guys are on the mend instead of the opposite direction. Yeah. All right, again, anybody I should know about as a club member, please let me know, okay? All right, moving right along. Old business. On August 23rd, we held our summer repair clinic here in 9032A. We were missing Bob Bennett and we were missing Neil Granau as our experts. But few of our new experts, Doug Perret, Joe DeVito, and Aaron Hunter, took the lead, and we ended with a successful clinic. Especially the Mrs. JV cookies and brownies. Everybody really enjoyed them. All right, our next fall clinic will be October 25th. So anybody needing an appointment, let me know. Let me know in the beginning of October, okay? Thank you.
Listen, can I interject for a second before you go to the next thing we're typing? I was so amazed how many people stepped up for Ned and I that I want to just, you guys are great. You stepped up for
Yeah. And the good thing is they work cheaper than you guys, too.
Yeah, well, you know.
No, it's...
I wanted to do a Nev headroom,
but no, it really worked out, and I can only be thankful for that too. So, because let's say the show must go on, right? So, I don't have any other old business other than docent business. Ray, are you here? Where are you, Ray?
Ray just slipped out for a second.
You slipped out. Well, then it's you, Bill. How are the docents doing? I got a phone call from Harry last night, and he was saying how well. Harry Clancer was saying how wonderful Bill is at gathering up and corralling the docents while he was gone. To the point where he was thinking about making you the head docent.
The head to all the
But thank you for putting that together. Well, he's been away. What? He's been away like 3 weeks. Huh? You said you did.
I'll take the credit.
Take the win. Take the win. All right. Yeah, apparently you filled in the blanks. All right. All right, on to new business. All right. Matt Reynolds is now the official NJARC archivist. Ooh, what does that mean? He's been transferring old club meeting videotapes to media that can be archived on our website and shared on social media, like YouTube, Instagram, and Meta. Facebook for you old guys, all right? Okay, so that means we need to hear from Matt Reynolds and what his plans for the future are. Hold that. You're going to get it. You're going to get the raspy beard. Go ahead. Speak right directly into it.
Hello. My plan's to continue doing what I've been doing because we have 30 years of videotapes to digitize, or at least archive. I'm about halfway through the analog ones and I haven't started the digital ones. And there are some missing, so again, I'll waive the late fees if you never returned them from the lending library, because you might have the only copy of some of them. But
Offering
amnesty. No rewards, but amnesty. I continue to post stuff on our social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, but please send me content, just like Paul did for chasing you guys for the newsletter for Dave. I could use pictures or short video clips or long video clips or whatever. You don't necessarily have to write the story. I can write the story, but the idea is to show what we actually do. You know, everybody's like, we need more members, but what the hell does the radio club actually do? You know, so show us what you're doing. What's on your workbench? Loading up the radio wild wagon with tubes to sell at Kutztown, or just what you saw at the museum when you were docenting, or what are you working on in the workshop, like that cool mechanical thing that Jules is always playing with. So just stuff that looks cool for the short attention span out there that are on social media. You know, if they find something that catches their eye, they're more likely to dig in further. So, you know, I'll continue doing what I'm doing, but please help make new content while I'm pulling up the old content.
Remind them the Throwback Thursday that you did with Tom Provost.
Yes, so I just posted yesterday, Throwback Thursday. My plan is to do a YouTube video every week of something from one of the tapes. I'm not going in sequence. I'm trying to shake it up a little bit, but the most recent one was a video from Tom Provost and Gary D'Amico remagnetizing old-timey headphones, the ones with the metal diaphragm, so that they can work again for your battery sets. So the first one was Al giving a presentation on antennas, and there's plenty more to come, and I'm discovering new ones as I go, and
Yeah,
seeing what you guys looked like when you were closer to my age than you are now. So, you know.
That's cruel.
I just watched that video this morning after breakfast, and I just thought it was so cool. And the best part of that whole thing was seeing Marty Friedman sitting there wearing his shirt and tie.
Yeah.
That was just so cool.
I found,
And I know it's extra work for you, but I appreciate your efforts on this, because those were times before I was even involved with the club.
well, that's precisely why I'm doing it. And a little bit selfishly is just to see what you guys did before I was around, because anybody that joined from a certain point didn't see what happened before. So it might be a review to some of you. A lot of you never saw it. So, and most of you don't remember it. So
What was the earliest dates that you found so far?
it's either 1994 or 1995 is the earliest tapes.
Club started in 92,
Yes.
July of 92.
So it's fun as me. I've been doing them in order because I'm worried about the age of the tapes. And I've watched you guys from the overhead projector and, you know, little tiny dark cave to PowerPoints and papers with the stick pointing at the things. So it's neat to see how the presentations have changed over time as the venues have changed. You know, I've heard your stories, but I didn't know. I never saw them. So kind of neat to see the places that you guys have been that I never got to go to. One of the next ones you'll see is about Sarnoff, when you guys did a Christmas party there. And Alex gave you guys one of the first walkthroughs. That was really interesting to me because I've heard about it, I didn't get to see it, and I've seen some of the stuff we took from there, so it's neat to see where it was. So I'm really enjoying it, and I hope you guys enjoy it and watch them and share them and whatever. People are watching them, but not just us. I mean, the one from Al, I think it has 170 views already. That was 2 weeks ago, and I know not all of you watched it, so it must be interesting to somebody. So hopefully it grows. You know, we already have like 160 videos, you know, from all the live meetings up there already. So
Tell us the
2,000 subscribers
tell
roughly.
us the amount of time you spend putting out copying one tape.
It took me a while to get them from the owner, and the people that had the tapes. Turned out a lot of them were just sitting here in the workshop. It's taken a little bit of time to get the equipment to cooperate. You know, for the tapes that are that old, there's a piece of equipment, a time-based corrector, to help keep the video clean because they're wavy and dropouts because they were recycled tapes. So yeah, I've had to fix that thing 3 times already. I've had to redo some of the tapes 3 times because I tried it without it, and now I have it, you know. So I've got it down to a science, but it still takes a decent amount of time to do a video. So I've backed them up faster than I'm editing them. I'm sure anybody that's done video editing knows that. The easy part's capturing it. But
Maybe you could write something for the communicator with the photographs of your equipment, because you've got quite an assembly of equipment you've
yeah,
got there.
I can do that. I posted a picture on our Facebook of the stuff that I've thrown together from genuine benefactors and stuff I've collected.
Would it benefit you if I were to, say, send you either or put on a flash drive or something, some of my old video stuff that I put on my YouTube page that you think would be beneficial for other people to watch your?
I think it's just as easy that we can put a link to your stuff because it's your content and you're a member. So we'll just say, member Radio Bob, posted this, Another thing I'm interested in doing, and we haven't ironed out all the details yet, but I did scan every single broadcaster a few years ago. So I plan to do another Throwback Tuesday or some other crafty name where I pick one of the random ones and be like, all right, remember when you guys talked about this? So just to help give you guys ideas, hey, here's what broadcast articles are like. It could be like this, it could be like that. But also just because they're useful. Way back Wednesday? Okay, I'll think about that. But yeah, so I'm trying to help get it out there for posterity, to help people that weren't there before, and for everybody after us. So any help, with new content to help get new people in would be great. Like I said, send pictures, blurbs, just while you're doing something related to the hobby. It doesn't have to be some epic thing, but just show what we do so there's interest in people wanting to join and not just look at a logo and a name and wonder, well, what the hell is an antique radio club? What do they do? So.
And Matt will put out his contacts on the communicator for you people to find out where you got to send your content to. Otherwise, it's not going to be of any use just talking here about it. All right, so we need a larger gathering of people who send content. Okay. With that, thank you. Thank you, Matt. Yeah, right? Why not? So with that, we have somebody else who's very busy, and we'd like to have Paul Monda come up. He is our vice president, and he will tell you about what he has been up to. Uh-oh, he's got a lot of notes. Secretary's copy. Speak right into it. Right into it.
Good evening, folks. Some of you guys know me, some of you guys don't know me. There's been a lot of discussion in this club about the club kind of slowing down. We're not gaining new membership, we're not gaining new revenue, and none of those are particularly difficult problems to solve. We just have to put a plan together. There's been a bunch of people working with me on this, the angle, because we do live in the digital age. As much as I would much rather deal with vacuum tubes, it is a digital world. So social media and website presence counts these days. So Harry Clancer, Al Clace, Phil Vortis, Ray Chase, Rich Lee, Bill Sloma, Joe Devonshire, Matt Reynolds, John Coomer, Dave Shika, Marcia Simpkin, etc. have all joined hands with this. What we're trying to do is take a good hard look at our existing website, which Dave did a ton of work on and Matt's been jumping into, but the thing's 15 or 20 years old. So we have to clean it up, neaten it up, fix the broken links. That's prong one. Prong two, once that's done, is to create a brand new, shiny, clean, looks modern website. What we're trying to do is attract more members to this club. They can be our age, they can be 40-somethings. We don't care. We just need more people, newer people. What we're learning is when you have an old-style website, people take a quick glance and they move on. They don't bother reading it. We're not attracting the younger crowd with it. It's just kind of passé. My daughter took a look at it. She's graduated from an art school with honors. She understands her way around that stuff. And she had 2 words to describe our website, which I will not repeat here. They weren't 4-letter words, but they weren't particularly complimentary. Okay? Archaic would have been polite, but I'll just put it that way. So that's what we're working on. We want to update our web presence, as I said, with 2 prongs, one to create a modern site, one to fix what we have. Our social media presence, we have the stuff, we just haven't been working it, we haven't been getting the benefits of it. Matt has started working on that, and we're going to need some volunteers. You know, there's one Matt and there's one Dave Sika. So we're going to need some volunteers to help us out with this stuff. We can't just keep, you know, Matt, like me, is still in the working world. You know, so we only have a limited amount of time to put in, and we're glad to put it in, but we do need some other folks to help us out with it. And it's not hard. You can get with me or Matt, and we can explain exactly what you got to do. The ultimate overall goals of this is we want to increase existing club member participation. We have 230 people in this club. This is the most crowded I have seen this room in a couple of years. The old 80-20 rule, 20% of the people do 80% of the work. If we can get to that point, we'll be doing good. So there's a lot the club has to offer, we just are not getting participation. And so this is one of the things we want to grow. And through social media and through a good web presence, people will see more of what the club's about, more of what we're doing. We'll get you guys some volunteer opportunities so you can contribute to your club and have a little fun. There's some cool projects that can be done down here. So we want to get some new members. We want to get some new docents for Harry. You know, Harry's been carrying that museum load for a very long time. We got to help him out. And recruitment of existing members and reactivation of existing members. We have a lot of guys that are members. If they walked in here and said, "Hey, Paul, how you doing?" I wouldn't recognize them because I don't remember the last time I saw them. So we got to get these guys active. So that's the game plan. That's what we're working on. We'll keep you posted. There will be some expenditures that go with doing this. Websites and web hosting are not free, but it can be done very reasonably. We are a 501c3, so we can get a big break. And so far as people writing web pages, out of the 230 people in this club, somebody knows how to do it. So we need somebody who's talented in writing web pages. We need somebody that's good with the artwork. That's critical to a web page. And Matt pointed out our presence on social media, and he alluded to short attention spans. If you look at some of the social media, 15, 20, 30 seconds for little short film clips, that's all we need, and that's all we want. The younger set will not sit there and watch a half-hour video. When we're trying to promote a swap meet or something like that, those little quick bursts, MTV style, that's what people want. And that's what's going to sell positions. Some of the benefits of this will take some of the load off of Rich. He's got a ton of work to do for every social event this club hosts. And it can be done electronically. For example, we have a swap meet and we sell table space. Rich has to field who knows how many phone calls and get back to people and chase stuff and count tables. That can all be done electronically. We can sell the tables online, and it's non-refundable. So if you pay your $60 for a table and you don't show up, well, we got your $60. I'm not crying too loud. I mean, we want people to show up and come in and sell their goods because it's a benefit to you guys. But that's the kind of thing we can do. Bill and a couple other people sit out here and man the tables every time we have a sale down here, selling spectator tickets, buyer tickets. Again, this can be done electronically. People can pre-register, and they can still take the walk-ins. They just won't have quite as much of a load on them. So these are things we can do. And again, if the person doesn't show up, it's non-refundable. We've got their $7 or $8. So that's where we're going. You'll see stuff in the newsletter about it. You'll see me putting stuff out on the email about it. And yes, we do welcome commentary. It's pmondoc@earthlink.net or aa2pm@earthlink.net. Send me your thoughts. Be glad to see them. And you can find my email address in the club's webpage. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So folks, things are changing. Yeah, obviously they're changing with us. We're all getting older, but we got to find, we're always looking for younger people, younger bodies and younger minds at least, you know, to try and continue our club. What's it going to be like in 20 years? You know, who's going to be sitting here? Who's going to be standing here? Yeah, Matt's going to have a lot of things to do. But by that time, it will be so much AI and bots that he'll have lots of company that way.
If they hire the Imagineers to replicate you guys.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you can clone all of us. Great, good idea. All right, where am I? Oh yeah. All right, so like you said, photos, club content, send them out. And Paul, you put your particulars out on the communicator, okay? So people know where to contact you, and Matt's going to do the same, all right? All right, all right. Next, Friday evening. Yeah, this time Friday evening, there might be a big fire going on. And that would be at Kutztown Antique Radio Show at Renninger's. And that is the Friday the 19th and Saturday the 20th. Setup time, things have changed, folks, within the last year. Setup time is 8 a.m. for vendors and open to the public at 10 a.m. And that is on Friday and Saturday. Forget about Thursday. No more Thursdays, guy. Long story, not going to get into it, but it had to do with money. And what's happening is the show is now going back to what it used to be, the early days, which was Friday and Saturday. So that's what you're going to see. How many will be vending? Okay, that's good. How many will be attending? Ah, yeah, okay, all right. That's to be expected. All right, now, Darren, you want to come up and talk about JD Auction Services in the White Room? Directly in.
Yep. That's it, yeah. Sorry. No, that's fine. So, we'll be having an auction in the White Room as usual on Friday. We have the contents, partial contents of 2 estates plus consignments that will be brought in that day. There's some really nice radios there, including a very Art Deco Majestic with chrome waterfall grille. Some nice Zeniths, Emersons, some really nice radios there, nice hi-fi gear. It's going to be a nice auction. And then we will be looking to do another auction, possibly in October, possibly later. We'll announce that back here in New Jersey. And just a reminder for people coming out to Kutztown, because Renninger's always asks to make the reminder that Thursday is, nobody is setting up Thursday. They don't want people there Thursday anymore, obviously. We know that, and not to beat a dead horse. But the auction will take place Friday night before the fire, and there's going to be a lot of nice stuff in this auction. Yes?
Auction's 5:30, I believe?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Yes. Yep. Any other questions? Yes?
Will there be a John and John show?
What? You never know.
Is that inside baseball?
No, I wouldn't go that far. No, you wouldn't need that, yeah.
All right, thank you, Darren. Thank you. Thank goodness for JD Auction Services. Okay, that's that. Okay. On Saturday evening, October 4th, the annual Wall of Honor dinner here in the Marconi Hotel dining room will be honoring some guy, I can't read it, wait a minute, some guy named Ray Chase. Oh. Ray Chase. Do you know him? Oh. He will be awarded the Patriots Award for his service to the New Jersey Antique Radio Club's RTM and InfoAge. You know, I think we should have a round of applause there, you know? Now, there's a release that I will read quickly, coming from the headmaster of InfoAge. As many of you know or don't know, Ray Chase is being honored at this year's Wall of Honor. He will be receiving the Patriots Award for his services to InfoAge and the RTM. The award banquet will be held Saturday, October 4th, 2025. The banquet will run from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. and include a buffet, dinner, and silent auction, along with recognition of the honorees. The cost per membership, per member is $75. We are requesting that the radio club have a representative attendance to honor one of your own. Please pass this around to your membership. Ray knows that he is receiving this award, so it's no secret to him. So, that's from Colonel Mike Rowan. Anyway, I will be at the dinner. I'm always at the dinner. I'm the audiologist. Dave Seek is the videologist, okay? We've been doing it for years now. So we will be there in attendance. So we would like to have a showing of other members. I think that would be a great thing. It's an interesting evening. You know, you get dressed up, you go stag, you go with your wife, you go with your girlfriend, you go with both of them, it doesn't matter, okay? It just would be nice to have an assembly of our club members representing the New Jersey Antique Radio Club at InfoAge and the presentation that will be given to Ray. So if you can make it, all right, I will put out information that you will get on the communicator for I guess we'll be sending checks and to the time and your reservation to Gloria Kudrick. Okay, that's I'll put that on the communicator with her information. I have it here, but you're not going to write it down. So please, if you can attend, it's a nice evening. All right, good food, good drink. There'll be plenty of music, thanks to the Altec Lansing, and lots of speeches too, of course. So if you can make it, please make it, and actually let me know too. Okay. And not far off is our own fall Hamfest Swap Meet show at the Parsippany PAL. That's on November 22nd, Saturday, as usual. I don't have any other new business. Anybody have any new business? We've covered it? Okay. Ham Shack Corner. Next Saturday, September 20th, Flark, all right, will be holding their annual Hamfest. I forgot the location. Just Google it, you'll find out where it is. Of course, Judith and Fred are the impresarios of that club, and they will be there at the gate. So unfortunately, it does run into K-Town, but they happen to they had to move their Hamfest because it was rained out in the spring. So that was the date.
They had moved it a couple of times. It just kept bouncing and bouncing.
Yeah, they'll be at it'll be at Christmas Eve next time. Yeah. All right. The other than what I have coming up is AWA, and that's October 7th to the 11th. Bill, you'll be going there, right? Anybody else attending AWA? Good, great, very good. Dr. Forte will be going up. Huh? Ray, you going up to AWA? No. He said no. He said you're going, he doesn't want to go. All right. And then Baraham Fest is always on the holiday of Columbus Day weekend, and that is Saturday, October 11th. And that's a great ham fest. It's especially great. It's only 7 miles from me. So, okay. After a brief intermission and sale of our 50/50 tickets, Our own Dr. Joe Wilkes will be giving us his presentation on ham radio propagation, and then an auction of stuff donated kindly by a gentleman sitting in the back room. Now, we don't see that often, but it's very happy to see Ed. So Ed, raise your hand. Thank you, Ed. All right. So,
Richard, just for the record,
yes.
I haven't heard someone say they're happy to see me in the last 74 years. So I had tremors here, excuse me.
Well, maybe we'll see more of you. We like seeing you. All right, Ed. Okay, who's going to collect for the 50/50s? Who is going to help collect? That would be Darren. Darren. And our vice president. That's a good combination. Great. All right, quick intermission. All right, the cookies that Sharon made are all gone, so forget about them.
The sound system leaves a lot to be desired.
Oh yeah.
The old voice of the theater is much better than this. What became of that?
That's mobile. Those aren't. We're going to be using that in the dinner. We could be using it out at the Ham Fest.
The quality is really not okay.
Well, I think it's more.
It's terrible.
Well, I can use a jack, a proper.
If you don't get it exactly right,
Yeah.
you're puffing it. It's terrible.
What I'll do is I'll use.
I just want to let you know.
No. I'll use this instead.
Please.
10 times 3 is 30.
3 for 2.
Not working right.
There's complaints about the sound system. It's the speaker. It's the mic.
It's the microphone?
I needed the microphone, I know a guy.
Do you?
Yeah, but seriously, Ray took me in the back to look
Everybody's complaining about the sound. It's almost unintelligible.
All right. He's the man that knows how to do it.
Anyway, so Ray was bequeathed a whole shitload of microphones,
Oh,
and he had me look at them, right?
okay.
There are two and one specifically good wireless mic over there.
Okay.
So buddy up to Mr. Magoo.
All right, but I can even jack it in this too. Come here.
I know, if you want a wired mic, I can bring one, but I think it's just the mic is sucky.
Yeah, it's a sucky mic.
How do you know it's the mic?
Trust me, it's a mic. What? Trust me, it's a mic.
He knows Mike. His middle name is Mike.
Yeah, it sounds like a feature is on. It shouldn't be on. It's gating.
Gated?
Yeah, but yeah, is it it's a cheap shit one or?
Oh yeah, it comes
it's not
with
a sewer
this.
or anything.
Oh no, it comes with this.
Chinese Altec, okay.
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
I think he's got one good one. I mean, you want a wired mic? I can bring a wired mic for a meeting, but wireless is nice.
Well, I have.
How about the
one.
mic? That what's his face?
I had it right there.
No, the one that Al always uses. You know, the big Altec speakers
What
with
do
the
you
big
mean?
receiver and
The
the wireless mic we normally use.
I don't know where that is.
boom.
It's still there?
Yeah. It was on top of the speaker. Well, maybe. Yeah, it's in the room.
Oh yeah?
Where did you get this?
BJ's.
Are you serious?
Yes.
No wonder it doesn't work.
Oh, it works
You
fine.
got a BJ. It's a piece of shit.
Oh, it's a piece of shit.
Closest it came to Altec Lansing, and they put the name on it.
It's the microphone.
There's a feature on that you don't want on. What do you think guitar mode is?
The what?
Guitar mode.
Yeah, well, it's
What does that do?
obviously for playing, putting a guitar in it, that's all.
Well, what does it do? Electrically, what does that do?
Just, I don't know. You can read the book.
That new PA sucks. It sounds terrible.
Everybody's complaining.
Terribly
It's the mic.
unintelligible.
It's the mic, yeah.
We have such a good system in here.
Yeah, well, it's not mobile.
No, but for in here,
How you doing, Rich?
I don't see Doggy. Who? Doggy.
Oh, doggy. Well, I only bring the doggy when my wife is not at home because I just can't bear to leave the poor thing alone at home. And she's at home today. So, and otherwise, if the subject is interesting to her, she'll come with me, and we'll have the doggy. So, but unfortunately, she wasn't really interested in atmospheric bounce of video waves, you know.
50-50, folks, 50-50. 50-50, come and get it, 50-50.
There's no settings on that for compression or anything.
No, nothing. No, it's very simple.
His batteries are good, right? I mean, his batteries are
I think so.
good shape, right? And something's not quite right.
Yeah, you know,
Something's not quite right there.
cheap batteries, I know that.
Doesn't matter if they're cheap. Matters if they
They're
work.
clipping, yeah.
But it's not clipping though, which is so it doesn't seem like there's anything wrong with the batteries, but it's not clipping, you know. It's good sound when it does get on.
But you have to talk
compression.
directly, straight into it.
Straight into it, right? Okay. Got my figures in? Okay.
you got a few issues. One of which is that doesn't have the horn that carries in a hard room like this. I've been down this road before.
Right.
You're not really. I've worked with this before. Hey, you're right. 1A7 would be better than that. 3, please.
Someone should make a Bluetooth translator inside XLR connector.
Well, actually, they have those things that clip on.
Yeah, I mean, good ones are a lot of money.
Yeah.
Is there like a mediocre one? I would want to buy one.
Well,
Just feel my heft to that thing.
how bad will this one be?
You gotta get close to the speaker, really. Okay.
My vote is that you just put back what we had.
Can I also take a screen?
How many?
72, please.
I'll take one. It's good stuff.
No. Sparkomatic. That's who makes that.
Sparkomatic.
That's the company.
Triple C, I call it.
Cheap Chinese crap. Where'd it go?
It's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, a couple of volts.
It's like as light as a feather.
Yeah.
Well, you can do a lot with an electric these days.
Who owns it? Who bought it?
The club does. The club has it. I bought it, the club owns it.
You bought it.
Yes.
Do we know how it works?
What do you mean, how it works? That's
Why
how
does
it
it
works.
sound like shit?
I don't know, because it's a cheap mic. I'm talking it. No, it's
Even
off.
cheap mics don't do that, do what this is doing.
I don't understand what's it doing. You have to talk right into it, I know that.
I think we got a Bluetooth another mic. We got a Bluetooth another mic in there, or a wired mic, and it'll sound great.
So is this like FM connected to the
Bluetooth.
speaker? It's Bluetooth. Okay. Why is it gating so badly? It's brand new.
I think it must have a very sharp directional pattern.
It's totally directional. It's got to speak right into it. And people wander around with it.
I know. But when I'm noticing when someone's talking into it, if their volume is below a certain threshold, it's like the whole system is off.
That's
And then
possible.
suddenly it's loud when they get a little bit louder. So there's some kind of gating or expansion going on.
I think it's this. When they're here, it's loud, and when they're here, it's
Nothing, yeah, nothing.
It's not. I'm watching, that's
I
not
was
what I
watching
see.
it too.
That's not what I see.
Well, you know, let's try this one. Where'd that go? Oh, he's plugged it in over there now.
It sounds exactly like that.
Yeah, but that's kind of far-fetched.
You know, Bill's got that one plugged in. We'll see what it does.
That would actually be an insane thing to build into a microphone.
What's that?
You would never want to have a gate.
Well, it's built into systems.
Communication systems maybe, but not PAs.
It's called a mixer. I didn't get tapped this time.
It sounds pretty. Yeah, I got the gain up all the way.
Bill, I've never met so many microphone experts in this room.
Just looking under the hood. When did you say the
October 4th,
repair clinic?
25th of October.
25th, Saturday. Testing 1, 2. I can't hear you. Am I working?
No, go ahead, do it again.
Testing 1, 2.
No.
I'm in mic 1. Mic 1. Here, mic 1, right here. Mic in, mic. No, I turned that down. The reverb and shit. Oh, it's got all kinds of shit in there. Yeah, walk in. I think you need to mic level. I think you need to turn the bass way down.
You into mic,
It was up 10 dB.
your mic guitar, maybe going to mic 2.
But how do you know which mic is which control?
I'm thinking
This is his mic in, mix in level.
auxiliary in.
Oh, mix in, not mix in. What's mic level? What's called the mic level? Level, reverb. Where did this come from? Is this yours?
No, it's the club's.
You bought it?
Yes. Yes. We used it out, were you here for the Hamfest swap meet?
No.
It was out there, and we're going to use it in the dinner too.
This should be totally easy. Mic 1. There's only
Would you switch channels?
it's got 2 mic inputs.
Did we switch one of them while it was on?
No, but I'm saying there's no like an individual control.
Watch this. Plug it in your channel.
There's no controls in the front, right?
I hear something going out. It's a radio coming out.
Radio.
It has radio in it, yeah.
Davey, do you have any jewelry tools? I bought them. Nothing's going on here. Stylus. I guess we'll just have to go with that piece of shit for now.
All right, we've got 5 guys over here looking at this. We need a guy to lean on a shovel. Has anybody got a shovel for me to lean on?
5 guys, and then we look needs a couple of buckets.
No, half the people in this room are microphone experts.
I want to lean on a shovel here and make this official.
These are reverb shit here. This is reverb. They got the reverb there.
Now, how many Antique Radio Club members does it take to get a Chinese speaker working? What's the problem?
Oh, you're reading the instruction manual.
Yeah.
You got 2 mic inputs, but no control label mic level.
Now, is this have, wait. Does this use the,
And this is my cue.
Think so? Okay, testing 1, 2. Oh, it's working. Can you hear me, guys? Can you hear me? It's not that loud, though.
does this have tone controls or no?
All right, guys, come on.
Are we making money today?
People going through the museum. That was talked about. Okay, all right. I had to check with the legals, with giveaways, refunds. Yeah.
We just have a small auction here after.
I don't auction for bad audio. I mean, it's great outside, but in here. So I tell you what years of experience taught me. When you have a hard room like this, that's the best way.
Yeah, what?
When you have a room that's hard like this,
Yeah.
right? That's the only way. You need exponential horns.
Oh.
For voice, intelligible voice.
Yeah.
Because we had the school, we had an old auditorium, you know what the old New York City public schools looked like? So they had no sound system on this. For the first graduation, they asked me, can you get a sound system? I said, yeah, sure. So I brought in a pair of A7s. I put them on the stage. And everybody said, wow, the people in the back row understood everything. So then next year they had a sound system put in. And they complained, how come it never sounded as good as when you had this? Because those speakers were designed for those auditoriums at the same time period when the auditoriums used to be hard like this.
Yeah.
And it becomes an echo and booming, and needless to say, that's the way to go. Exponential horns.
Well, we're not very exponential people.
No.
Here we go.
All-Tech Lansing.
Well, it's looking for the microphone, the other microphone.
Okay, maybe. Bluetooth.
Yeah, no, Darren adjusted those.
You don't want all that trouble, trust me. It's brutal out there.
I'll turn off the other microphone.
Get rid of the bass. We don't need it.
I'll go back, you talk. We're getting there, Mario. All right, so where are we then?
We're good.
But where are we for the future?
Mic one. The problem was this switch here. This switch between the guitar and mic.
Oh,
It
okay.
was in the guitar position.
Okay.
That's a
And
bad.
that's in the mic position.
Yeah, we don't need anything at 12 kilohertz. Or at 80. You can drop those right the hell out of there. 3, you don't need much either. And that should sound reasonably good.
Jules, can you hear me now?
Say it again.
Last call, folks, last call. All right. It was a cheap wireless mic.
Three of them and I never took my tickets.
What's that?
I bought three and I never took my tickets. Screw it.
All right, find a seat, folks, find a seat. Sit down. How much?
That's the clubs, that's the winners.
How much?
It's 42.
Okay, 40, 21.
No, 42 to the winner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, very good turnout.
All right. Sit down. Everybody complaining about my mic? Now I got a real mic, so I can scream and yell at you all. Sit down, you. Uh-oh. A late arrival, the winning ticket. Yeah, put it right on the top. That's what we'll do, yeah. I'll pick that one.
About to go around my neck. There we go.
All right, we have a big pot this evening. $41 to the winner. $41. Ooh, okay, now, in tradition, we always have our guest speaker pull the winning ticket. And sometimes it's very embarrassing. Oh, all right, Ed Papton won. Fantastic. $41 to the winner.
Notice the lack of applause.
Too late. Trust but verify. Thank you very much, Ed. And there is your money. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
That's awfully kind of me. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you may have seen that, a sleight of hand, and Ed Papson has given us the money. He has donated the money back to the club. What a guy, what a guy. And this will be going to the Richard Lee Memorial Fund. Okay, here we go. Now, I guess we'll be pulling the lights down. All right. While we're doing that, the gentleman this evening, which is a club member of ours, we're very happy to have him as a club member, Joe. A little bit about his background, okay? He's not off the street, right? You've been around the block a while, right, haven't you, Joe? He's an electrical engineer, studied wireless communications in grad school. His thesis topic, mitigating the effects of multipath fading on FM radio signals. He's the co-author of 3 books on wireless communications, a life fellow of IEEE, an amateur radio operator since 1961. Wow, you were like 4 years old. That's amazing, I tell you, Joe. And his extra class is WA2SFF. So have a warm welcome for Dr. Joe Wilkes. All right. Now, do you need light? Do you need any more light?
No, I'm fine.
All right, hold on. You need to be wired up. This is for
Oh, this is
the government. No, it's for the government. Okay. All right, there you go. I hope you have enough wire.
Get this around here so I don't trip over it. Okay. When I normally give this to the ham radio guys, this talk I've given about 6 or 7 times now over the years. I usually do VHF propagation, but given it's a little bit late, I'm probably just going to stick to medium frequency and high frequency propagation. And I'm open to questions, and we'll just go from there. Next slide, Paul. Okay, so we all play with radios, okay? Radio waves travel in a straight line, just like light. But the Earth is a sphere, so how do they get from one side of the Earth to the other? Well, there's 2 ways. One, for lower frequencies, the ionosphere, which is up above the Earth, which I'll explain how high on the next couple of slides. And then for VHF, like TV, two-way radio, stuff like that, the troposphere, which is a lower layer in the atmosphere, tends to bend the radio waves and act like a waveguide and bring them and take them around the Earth. For local communications, you know, if you're listening to a local station, say here in Monmouth County or something, the atmosphere doesn't affect it, and the antenna height is a key thing. The higher the antenna, the better. And in general, for ham radio operators, for local communications, the lower the frequency, the better. The club I'm in, the Garden State Amateur Radio Club, has a net every Tuesday night on approximately 29 megahertz. And I live in Middletown, and I have trouble hearing people out in Freehold and Manalapan. That's how poor the propagation is. At that frequency, if you got much lower in frequency, then you do better. For local stuff now. Next slide. Okay, I don't know the background of everybody here. I mean, I've been a member for a couple of years. I invited a couple other fellows into the group who are hams that I know. I know some of you I know from wandering in and out of the museum when I need to test some tubes during the day, during hours. I'm part of the makerspace here, and I've been helping one of the fellows learn how to restore old radios. And we started out with a signal generator from the 40s and got that working, and now he's getting interested in doing other things. So we've been running in and out to get tubes tested and stuff. This is the definitions from the standards bodies of frequencies. What I'm going to be talking about today is basically low frequencies and high frequencies. What they are, which is normally what we'd be, other than FM radio, is what we'd be listening on the radios that we're restoring. VHF and UHF and super high frequencies, I don't think there's time for me to talk about that. Could be another talk. I did post on the discussion group that we have, I did post a PDF of this talk on my GitHub site, and you're welcome to download it. You don't have to log in, you just go to just click on the link from the email, and you'll go to that site, and then you can download the PDF. Next slide. Okay, so this is the layers in the atmosphere. At the bottom of the atmosphere is the troposphere, then the stratosphere and the mesosphere. Then up above that is what's called the ionosphere, and it's called the ionosphere because it's made up of ions. The sun excites the ionosphere into ions, and the ions then can reflect radio waves. Now, nobody knew this in the early days of radio. I don't know how Marconi figured out that he could go across the Atlantic. I don't know, they knew radio waves went in a straight line. How he figured that out, that he could get across the Atlantic, maybe he just made a wild guess. I don't know. Jules, you were around at that time. What was the answer?
It would be okay. So.
Next slide, please. Okay, so the ionosphere is a shell of electrons which are charged by the sun, and it varies as what the sun does. At nighttime, when the sun is on the other side of the Earth, the ionosphere gets less ionized. So it varies from day to day, from day to night. It varies from day to day, and it's not the same any place around the Earth. It's different all over the Earth. And from summer to winter it changes, and over the sunspot cycle, which is typically 11 years, it changes. And I'll talk about sunspots later on. And occasionally the sun expels a whole bunch of particles out of the sun, and when they hit the Earth, it shuts the ionosphere down, and then you'll hear about radio blackouts and other things going on. And right now we're at a sunspot maximum, so all these things are occurring. And if you're listening to shortwave radio, you can go up very high in frequencies and listen to stuff around the world day and night. Next slide. Okay, so this is a description of the main 3 layers in the ionosphere. The lowest layer is called the D layer. Now, why is it called the D layer? Because when the scientists discovered it, they thought there might be layers below it, so they started with D, just in case there was an A, B, and C, which they don't need, which they found out they didn't need. The D layer is up around 50 miles. The E layer is up higher than that, around 70 miles. And then the highest layer is the F layer. And I'll explain what each of these 3 do on the next slide. Paul, next slide. Okay. This is a description of where they are, and I kind of just went over this. The F layer reflects high-frequency signals, 3 to 30 megahertz, and some, during sunspot maximums, maybe as high as 60 or 70 megahertz, which would be in the low end of the TV band. The reason why we don't have TV channel 1 is because the frequencies were low enough that it would be picked up around the world at sunspot maximums, and even during summer, you could pick it up from one end of the country to the other, so they would interfere with each other. So when they finally stabilized the channel numbers after World War II, they eliminated channel 1 and moved all the channels on the low end up a little. The E layer is below the F layer, and it reflects signals typically above 21 megahertz, which is the 15-meter ham band. That's just a nominal number. The D layer is interesting. First of all, it attenuates low frequency and high frequency signals. So it acts like an opaque window. The D layer is around during the day because it's heavily ionized by the sun and disappears at night. So that's why, and I'll talk about this in a minute, why you suddenly, AM broadcasting you can hear much better at night than you can during the day. And there was some discussion a month or 2 ago about some AM stations that disappeared at night or at dusk. And I'll go over and explain what's going on there in a couple of slides. Now, the layer disappears at night, though today, when I was redoing these slides the other day, I said, well, there's WWVB at 60 kilohertz. How is that heard all over the country? So I did a little digging, and I did some more digging today, and it turns out the D layer doesn't completely disappear at night. There's still a little bit of around. And even though the D layer absorbs HF and medium frequency, low frequency signals, it actually reflects the signals around 60 kilohertz, which is WWVB. You know, that's the signal that runs all these nice wireless clocks we have all around the house. So I wondered, how did that happen? Well, you know, and that was a really hard thing to find. The best answers I got was from the AI answers from Google. When I tried to dig deeper, it was hard to find anything definitive. Everybody says the same thing. The D layer goes away at night. And then I found one site that kind of says, well, it mostly goes away at night. But the D layer does affect very, very low frequencies. But above, from AM broadcasting on above, when the sun is out, the D layer absorbs those signals. That's why we can only hear local radio stations during the day. Next slide. So the ionosphere acts as a mirror, but it's not a perfect mirror. in that we look at it like is an ideal version up there. The reality of it is there's different layers of ionization in the ionosphere, and a radio wave coming off the Earth and going up to the ionosphere will bounce off different pieces of the ionosphere and then come down to the local receiver. Now, because the path lengths are different, the phasing between the signal is different, and then as the ionosphere changes, because it's constantly changing, you hear the signal fade in and out as some of those paths interfere with each other or add up. And that's what's called multipath fading. And that occurs in all communication systems. In cellular phone, the first proposed cellular phones actually had 2 antennas on the car. So if you had multipath fading, you picked up one antenna or the other. They eventually realized they didn't need that. It was overkill, and they just went to one antenna. But when Qualcomm came up with the CDMA technology, they actually built a receiver to pick up all those multipaths and put the ley lines in to add them all up into one signal to get a much stronger signal. And that was one of the ways that CDMA, when it came about, was much more efficient, and you could have more phone calls. Next slide. So there's a few frequencies that are important. If I take a radio signal and aim it straight up at the ionosphere, and this would be a scientist or something running low power with permission from the FCC or its appropriate regulatory body, and aim it straight up, at some frequency, it'll stop being reflected back, and it'll start passing through the ionosphere. That frequency is called the critical frequency. And they're constantly sounding on the ionosphere to find out what the critical frequency is. Then, if I want to communicate between two places, like I'm picking up a shortwave broadcast, well, I have to be below that critical frequency, which is called the maximum usable frequency, which is lower. So say the critical frequency was 25 megahertz, and I wanted to go across country, the radio station might have to be at 20 megahertz or something. So sometimes broadcast stations will change frequencies during the day and night and at different times to account for that. Anything above the critical frequency just passes right through the ionosphere. Next slide. Now the D layer attenuates signals, but as you go lower and lower in frequency, above a certain frequency, you can pass through the D layer. But at some point, it's opaque and it doesn't get through. So that's the lowest usable frequency. So in shortwave broadcasting, there's a low frequency at any given time of the day or year, and a high frequency that kind of gives you the limits of where you can communicate. Now, as I discovered, so now what happens at night? The D layer goes away, so now radio signals that couldn't get through the D layer now can be bounced off the ionosphere, and that's why you can suddenly hear broadcast stations from around the country. Next slide. So sometimes, if for a particular communications path, the maximum usable frequency is lower than the lowest usable frequency, then there's no communication between those 2 points at over that frequency range. So sometimes you'll think, oh wow, the sunspots are really good, why can't I communicate? That's because the D layer is absorbing all the signals. Next slide. Okay, so why are AM broadcasts better at night? My next slide is why they're worse at night. But why are they better at night? Well, the D layer absorbs the signal. The range of the AM broadcast station is a matter of its power output, antenna location, antenna height, and distance between receiving stations. At night, the D layer disappears, and the AM signal can be bounced off the ionosphere, so you can hear it thousands of miles away. So they very early on discovered this very early on in the radio days. Next slide. So the FCC or its predecessor came up with, right now, 4 classes of AM broadcast stations. Class A is called clear channel stations. They run the highest power allowed by the FCC 24 hours a day. ABC is one of them in New York City, KDKA in Pittsburgh, WWVB, Wheeling, West Virginia. They're Clear Channel stations. You can look up all the Clear Channel stations. Now, a couple of years ago, I was restoring a Zenith transoceanic receiver. I finished recapping it. I was sitting in the basement. I pulled up the antenna, and this one station, I tuned across the AM broadcast band, and this one station came booming in. Then they talked about weather in Pittsburgh. And I scratched my head, and I said, why is a New York station talking about weather in Pittsburgh? And I continued to listen. It was KDKA in Pittsburgh. But it was louder than all the New York stations because, one, it's on a clear channel, and two, it was at night and it was bouncing off the ionosphere. Now, there was Class B, C, and D stations. The Class D stations are the lowest power and typically have to be off the air or switch antenna patterns or go to low power at night. So a couple of months ago, somebody was saying they suddenly couldn't hear one radio station just at dusk. What was happening was that station was switching to its nighttime requirements. And those nighttime requirements could be one, local lower power, or two, they changed the antenna pattern. So if they have multiple antennas up, they could phase the antennas to push the strongest direction in a different place to avoid interfering with another station on that channel. Now there's some intermediate levels of regional and local stations which run lower power. And then I didn't cover the low power AM stations where, you know, like a real estate agent will advertise a house, or a tanner will advertise emergency management and have a range of a few miles or something on AM. But that answers the question from the discussion a couple of months ago of what's going on there. Next slide. Okay, I already talked about clear channel reception. Now, what would happen if you heard two stations are on the same frequency and maybe they're just at the edge of being at the maximum power for being across the ionosphere? You'll hear the same you'll hear two stations on the same frequency, and as one fades in, the other fades out, you'll hear a song, and suddenly the song will switch for a few seconds and back and forth. And sometimes you'll hear that at night on some of the non-clear channel stations. Next slide. Okay, so now how do I hear signals around the world? Well, what happens when you want to listen to around the world? So for example, last year sometime, I set up my ham radio station using one of the digital modes and communicated with somebody in New Zealand. How did that happen? Well, the signal bounces off the ionosphere, then bounces off the ground, then bounces off the ionosphere, then bounces off the water several times to go around the world. Typical, the maximum range for one bounce is maybe about 2,500 miles or so, maybe a few thousand miles, but typically getting from here to Europe or here to South America. But if you want to go further than that, the signal has to then bounce off the Earth and bounce off the ionosphere. Now, the last time I gave this talk, somebody asked me what percentage of the energy actually gets reflected off the ionosphere. It took me, a good month or more of digging before I found some site that talked about that. And basically, the ionosphere is pretty close to a perfect mirror. I would say up the high 90s of the percentage of energy that when it hits the ionosphere gets reflected back. Now, I don't know what the Earth is. It also would depend on what the material it is. If there's a lot of magnetic material in the Earth, versus non-magnetic material. So that's different all over the world. Next slide. So what are sunspots? Well, sunspots are spots on the Earth, on the sun, that are cooler than the main temperature of the sun. The sun is at about 5,000 degrees centigrade. But the sunspots are cooler than that. So you'd say, well, why the sun? Last time I put this together, I was scratching my head saying, if they're cooler, why do sunspots cause the more ionization of the Earth's atmosphere? Well, it turns out the edges of the sunspots emit a lot of ultraviolet light, and it's the ultraviolet light hitting the atmosphere that energizes the ions. So even though the sunspot itself is cooler or darker than the spots than the other parts of the sun, it's the ultraviolet light. Now the sunspots increase and decrease in an approximately 11-year cycle. Could be anywhere from 10 to 13 or 14 years. There's other cycles of increases and decreases of the sunspots that people track, but basically over an 11-year cycle. Right now, 2025 is going to be pretty much the maximum, and then as we go into 2026 and 2027, we'll start seeing less and less sunspots, and then in about another 5 years or so, there'll be no sunspots. Next slide. Here's some pictures from last year of sunspots with always the warning, don't look at the sun. We know that from the eclipse, when we were talking about the eclipses a few years ago. Don't look at the sun. You only do that once. And there's some photographs that were taken of the sun with a specific sun filter on the front of the camera or the telescope. During that, remember that big long eclipse we had? It went across the country back about 6 or 8 years ago. Some people rented cameras to take pictures of the sun. Surprise, surprise, the sun was so intense coming into the camera lens, it melted the shutter. So when they returned the lens and the camera to the rental place, they had a very surprise big repair bill they had to pay for. So you're supposed to have a really strong sun filter in front of a telescope or a camera. What the early scientists did when they were measuring sunspots is they would project the output of the telescope onto a piece of paper. And then they would, didn't have cameras in those days, then they would sketch it. So that's how we know what things look like from years ago. Next slide. Here's a description from when the telescope was invented all the way up to 2000, and I have some past that on the next slides. There are some early stuff from around 2,000 years ago from China. Some of the astronomers in China had actually drawn pictures of sunspots, so they have a very little information about that. Once the telescope was invented, they started studying the sun in detail. Back in the 1600s, we went through a period of time when there were virtually no sunspots for about 75 years. And then the sun started coming up. The modern day maximum was in 1958. I got my license in 1961, and some of the fellow hams who had their license for a while, they said on the 6-meter ham band, which is typically a local band, they had worked Japan because the maximum usable frequency hit 60 megahertz or more. It's quite possible that could happen this year. I haven't read whether it's happened or not, but it's quite possible. Okay, next slide. Here's some more interesting peaks. The peaks are different. They've been coming down. For a while, people were thinking we were heading into another shutdown of the sun and sunspots. Next slide. And then the next sunspot cycle showed up. People predicted it. A lot of people predicted it was going to be worse than the preceding one. One scientist said no. He was the only one right. That's the projections. Let's see, the next slide should have the actuals up until last year. And this sunspot cycle has been it's been better than the preceding one, which was quite low. Next slide. So here's an example that I found from a ham radio magazine from a number of years ago, which plotted what's called ground wave propagation, where you're not bouncing off the ionosphere, you're just going directly from one path to the other across the Earth. And it was starting at the low frequencies of around 2 megahertz all the way up to 30 megahertz. You see that the lower frequencies you do much further. At the 29 megahertz, the range is about 10 miles, which is what I've seen in our clubs, my ham radio club's net on Tuesday nights. Some nights we can't even hear each other. And everybody's in Monmouth County. We occasionally get check-ins from out of the area, but most of the people are in Monmouth County. And sometimes we can't hear each other because the conditions are very poor. It's not the right frequency to be using, but it's the right band that anybody, no matter what ham radio license they have, can get on that band. So that's why we picked it. Let's see. I think that's the next slide is probably about it. How long can I talk? What are people's bedtimes?
Joe, what I call the snooze effect, 45 minutes usually is your limit. And
Okay.
15 minutes, otherwise.
So we're probably close then. So we probably should stop here and then answer questions. If you want to see the rest of the talk, as I said, it's on my GitHub site. Questions? Jules?
Yeah, so sunspots presumably do other things besides affect radio propagation, like maybe the growth of trees and things like that. Is it possible to use these other effects to look at the sunspots of 1,000 years ago?
I'm going to guess that it's probably indirect. They may be looking about the amount of carbon, radioactive carbon or something in that. Yeah. Now there are other effects. When the sunspots are high, it causes the whole atmosphere of the Earth to grow, and then some low orbiting satellites have to be repositioned because there's extra drag on them. Interestingly enough, if you look at Venus, Earth, and Mars, which are all in what astronomers call the habitable zone of our solar system, Venus doesn't have, 900 degrees or something. Mars has almost no atmosphere. Why? Well, the Earth has a magnetic field. A magnetic field protects us from all the particles coming off the sun. Mars doesn't have a magnetic field, so all those particles coming off the sun eroded away Mars's atmosphere. For Venus, they think it broke up the chemicals in the atmosphere and turned them into carbon dioxide, which we know is a greenhouse gas. So the Venus and Mars don't have a magnetic field, so the Earth does. And the sun and the particles coming off the sun, especially during high sunspot activities, large amounts of, in addition to ultraviolet light, sometimes they'll get a coronal mass ejection. A whole bunch of matter from the sun will get thrown into the solar system, and when it hits the Earth's atmosphere, it'll cause all kinds of problems. Sometimes there's GPS outages, sometimes there's satellite outages. Certainly the ionosphere will shut down, and then there'll be radio blackouts around the world, and every so often you'll see that. It makes good good clickbait on news media, making out like the world is ending, the sun just erupted. So yes, there's other effects caused by the sunspots than just that. Now, I'm not 100% sure you can track the sunspots pre-telescope days, but they have. Okay, so there's an effect called the Carrington effect, where a large amount of particles are thrown out of the sun. And back in the 1860s, so much particles hit the atmosphere that it induced charges into the telegraph lines and started fires. There was a blackout in Canada a number of years ago that was blamed on that. They have been able to track that by how it affects other things, and I don't remember what it is, whether it's rocks or trees. They're looking at what's happened in the past, and it may be affected by radioactive carbon, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. Yeah. Yeah. Is it Matt?
Yeah.
Matt.
When they figured out about the ionosphere and all these other layers, what's the defining difference, and how did they figure that out to begin with? Like, I know there's no physical barrier between them, so how do they decide?
It's the type of ionization that occurs, I guess. Well, as you get lower and lower, the atmosphere gets thicker. Okay. Now, how they figured that out, that's a good question. I don't know. But certainly it was not known in Marconi's days. They were just learning about it. So he kind of speculated about that he could get across the Atlantic. Now, one of the guys who was a long-term member of a Garden State Club and a former docent here, Bob Boos, died about 6 months ago. And he had talked about that Marconi did some experiments at a sunspot minimum, and people were questioning how he managed to get across the Atlantic. And there were, in those days, it was a spark gap transmitter, and which created a lot of harmonics. And they were thinking maybe he picked up the harmonic of his fundamental signal because he had a very long antenna, may have not picked up the fundamental signal. But I never got Bob to be able to give that talk. I kept pestering him for years to say, okay, Bob, come on, give that talk. And I could never get him to give the talk at the radio club. Any other question? I know there was a couple of hands. Yeah.
You mentioned the sunspots, of course, you mentioned relate to the distance of propagation. The more sunspots, the longer you can communicate.
The higher the frequency you can use.
The higher frequency you can do.
Right. So what the hams do is when the sunspots are low, they're usually on 3.5 and 7 megahertz. And then as the more and more sunspots that come up, they start moving higher and higher in frequency to communicate around the world. And then the lower frequencies don't get used as much or don't travel as far.
Is that because of the height, or is it because it becomes...
It's the amount of ionization, how well the ionosphere will reflect the signals. As I said, above a certain frequency, the ionosphere is semi-transparent. It's not perfectly transparent. It does signals going through the ionosphere get perturbed, but it doesn't get reflected back. So it's like a piece of glass. That the window glass like they made back in the 1700s, with all the waviness. Light got through it, but not perfectly.
So it gets better.
So as the sunspots get up, the higher the frequencies are reflected off the ionosphere.
With more efficiency.
So it's more efficient, yeah. When the sunspots are very low, frequencies around 20 or 30 megahertz just go right through the ionosphere. So you're at, I remember when I was a teenager, one of my neighbors was a ham, and I went to his house, and on the 20-meter ham band of 14 megahertz, this was during a sunspot minimum, we were in Queens and we couldn't even hear anybody in Brooklyn. I mean, you listen at night and there was nobody there. Whereas under normal situations, that's the most crowded ham band. But when the sunspots get really bad, that doesn't work. You have to move to lower frequencies.
Does the height of the reflection change?
I'm sure the height changes to some extent, but I mean, the only thing the height change would affect would be, a millisecond or two more delay in the signal. If you're trying to do synchronization of something, that might be normal, but for voice communications or Morse code or most of the data communication systems, a few extra milliseconds of delay isn't going to bother you as the height of the ionosphere changes. Yeah, over here.
Me?
Yeah, you.
You mentioned a clear channel AM. Isn't the other significant part of clear channel that is the only station that's not that frequency?
There may be 3 in the country or 4 in the frequency. If you look up Clear Channel AM, there was a big, long list of the stations all over the country. Too long a list to put on one slide. I'd be putting up 3 or 4 slides. So if you just look it up, you can see.
Okay, because I felt like WCBS is the only station on 880.
Well, they may be only on the East Coast. There may be another one on 880 in California.
I meant the flyer, that's what Clear Channel meant.
Yeah.
Clear Channel.
Clear Channel for thousands of miles, but not the whole country. There are more than one station on the Clear Channel, but like in the smaller broadcasting, you might have one every couple hundred miles on one frequency. Whereas the Clear Channel stations, they're protected for about 1,000 miles or so. Yeah, over there.
When I was little, back in 74, 75, I'm from Middletown also. We were visiting someone in Maryland, and around 10:30 at night, none of their stations came in, but I heard our NBC down there.
Right.
And I was like, it was very
Well, probably the local.
I was like right here, but it was weird.
The local stations there probably were low power compared to WNBC. I mean, where did the major broadcasting start up? In New York, Chicago, so they gobbled up all the channels. And it's the same thing, it used to be, in New York City we had 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, and 13. You go to other places and they had 3 and 5, or 3 and 6 or something. Because New York gobbled up all the stations. The same thing on the AM broadcast band. Yeah.
A couple of hours ago, I brought a little handheld transceiver that runs about 4 watts. And I worked a guy in Colorado just standing out here in the parking lot on CW at 20 meters.
Okay.
Yet I couldn't hear anybody else. Can you explain that kind of effect?
Yeah. I saw that effect when I first got my ham radio license. I saw that effect on 50 megahertz, where I could hear somebody and somebody a mile away couldn't hear them. And it's just how the ionosphere, it would be very small regions of the ionosphere that get ionized and reflect the signal. So if you're a little bit away, the signal doesn't get, either it has the wrong angle or doesn't get, or gets reflected away. Things are, I know it happens on the lower frequencies, but it was very prevalent on the 6 meter band with reflections off the E layer, is that, you would hear somebody a few miles away you would hear them talking to somebody and you couldn't hear the other end of the conversation. And it was just because of the localization of the ionosphere. We talk about the ionosphere being uniformly ionized, but as I said, it's little pockets. So one little pocket will get you to the Colorado, but somebody nearby, that pocket won't work because the angle is wrong. Yeah, over here.
I've heard the 6 meter band referred to as a magic band.
That's a marketing. There was who's the guy? Heil, the guy who did all the microphones. He also what? Heil. He just started a couple of years ago, but he started out in the recording business and started building recording systems for a bunch of artists and stuff. Well, he had a book on converting CB sets to the 6 meter bands, and that was his marketing thing to get people to buy his book and do that. I mean, it was a marketing thing. There's nothing magic about 6 meters. I mean, yes, it's during the summer you get a lot of E-skip, and you can communicate all over the country. Sometimes you can communicate to South America, but it's no different than 10 meters. Just 10 meters is active more often. It's not really a magic band. It was a good way of him to market his book and some of his other stuff. He was a phenomenal marketer in addition to being a good engineer. I mean, didn't he get all kinds of awards for his sound systems and stuff, for his microphones? And I don't know which bands he did all the audio for, but I think he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. From his work on sound systems. In addition to being a ham, yeah.
Tropospheric ducting.
Okay. Paul, where are you? You want to move forward a few slides, since you asked? Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Ah, good. Tropospheric ducting. So, you've heard of temperature inversions, right? Where the hot air hits a layer of the atmosphere and it acts like it just holds the atmosphere in place. Okay? Well, when that happens, the layer in the troposphere and the Earth look like a waveguide duct. The signals, and I'm showing it as a flat Earth, we know it's curved. The radio signals get up into the troposphere and can go large distances almost unattenuated.
The weather condition you're talking about is just temperature?
It's a temperature inversion.
It's temperature, it's not some other phenomenon.
It's primarily a temperature inversion phenomena.
Okay.
But also if you have enough power, power can overcome a lot of poor propagation problems. So if I transmit a few 100,000 watts of power, I can usually make a communications. I mean, the military would do that, to do over the horizon discussions at VHF. But during a true temperature inversion, the troposphere acts like a waveguide. And the signals that go through a waveguide are almost unattenuated. So you can get very, very strong signals hundreds of miles away. Well, my first job was down in Maryland, and one day I was driving to work and I heard a station in New York City on the 2-meter ham band, which normally doesn't have any kind of propagation, but that was clearly tropospheric propagation, and they were coming in like they were a local station. Yeah.
Twice I have been driving and received FM broadcast stations. Once on Route 9, just north of Fremont, heading south. I was picking up a station from Austin, Texas. FM broadcast.
So,
the second time, I was on Route 29, skirting Trenton, right on the Delaware River, and I started picking up an FM station from, I believe, Minnesota.
Okay, there could have been, Austin, Texas could have been E-skip. Minnesota could have been tropospheric ducting.
Well, from what I was able to ascertain, because we got curious and started looking it up, there was a weather system. There was basically cloud cover, low cloud cover from here to Minnesota. Odd weather, and from what I've read, the cloud cover was...
Well, the cloud cover, they say it was the cloud cover, but it would be looking at the temperature of the atmosphere as you're going up. Suddenly, you hit a barrier where the air can't move up any further, and that's called a temperature inversion. And that's when you get really good tropospheric ducting.
It's very bizarre and it's crystal.
It doesn't happen that often.
So are there online resources that forecast this type of activity, or you just experiment?
There are now that software radios are very, very inexpensive, there are people that have put software radio outputs up on the web. So if you're a ham radio operator, you can transmit on a particular frequency and then listen over the web to these stations around the country, around the world, and see where your signal is getting to. So that basically, they're basically sounding the ionosphere all the time by listening. And people just, as a hobby, they will put up a radio receiver and then put up on the web everything they can hear. Now, the first time I gave this talk, I think it was in the 80s at the Garden State Club. And in those days, the magazine QST would publish a chart every month, which was the best bands to use for each day of the week for the next month, based on predictions. Okay? Now I can go on I can go on websites and know whether somebody's hearing my signal in areas of the country. There's also a whole bunch of people that will take low power stations like this gentleman did and go sit in a park. And then there's website, it's called Parks on the Air. There's websites where you can go onto the website and say, I'm at Battleground State Park and I'm going to be on this frequency. And then other people will then start listening for you and make contacts. And then they post on the website who they've talked to, so you can start to see who can talk to who all around the country, all around the world. So things have changed significantly. So you're getting amateurs. Amateur meaning not scientists, but amateurs, not ham radio operators, but separately amateurs who are providing all of this propagation information for everybody else to do research on. Yeah.
One more question. Sunspot activity, to measure the extent, to give it like an absolute numerical value, is that what the K index is?
There's several indexes. I go to spaceweather.com every day, and it tells you all this, what's going on with the sun and stuff, and whether there's going to be auroras, where auroras are. They give you an aurora map and stuff like that. I'm not familiar with how the K index relates to the sunspot number.
I think it's related to solar flares.
Okay, so the sunspot numbers go anywhere from 0 to a maximum of about 250 to 300. We've had it in the last year, we've had a couple of days where the sunspot number hit 250 or 300, which was the highest it's been in years.
Okay,
but I don't know how that refers to the K index.
Okay, my job, I used to work for AT&T, and every so often we get a call from a very official guy from the Space Environment Center giving us the K index. And we wrote it down and forgot about it. So,
well, let's see. Well, I mean, the cell phone technology would not be affected by the ionosphere for the most part.
well, we're talking like 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I remember visiting Motorola back in the 70s, and they had some research lab away from Schaumburg, and they were able to connect up to our AT&T's cell phone system from like 75 miles away. That was most likely this, tropospheric ducting. I don't, does AT&T have any terrestrial shortwave stations anymore? I thought they were all shut down. Now that there's satellite communications and other stuff, it's primarily all shut down. That would have probably been important when they were doing, when they had...
I think it's more effective satellite at the time is what we're telling you.
I don't know. Okay, where's the satellite expert there in the corner there? He's hiding. How does the K index affect the satellites? You just did the mechanical part of it, right, Paul?
No, they very diligently watched space weather and solar flares because it did affect the space grid.
Okay, any other?
And they would predict, actually, the customers would be made aware that there was going to be high sunspot activity.
That's I guess what they told us.
Yeah.
They would start to see signal degradation or problems in their video and data.
Yeah, well, the ionosphere does perturb even satellite signals. Interestingly enough, I remember I was driving down here, when I got out of graduate school, it was right after we landed on the moon and there were no jobs to be had. So it took me about a year to find a job. And I went for an interview with a company down in Maryland who was working on geostationary satellites at the time. And they were worried about how the ionosphere would perturb the signal. Even though it's transparent, it's not perfectly transparent. It does perturb the signal. And I said, oh, there was an article in one of the IEEE magazines last month. The guy ran off at lunchtime to the library, looked at the article, and by the end of the day, I had a job. That job wasn't very good, and I was pestered by my then wife to move back to the New York City area, so I reapplied to Bell Labs, and they hired me. I got my first job because of having just happened to have read an article that answered the guy's question. But the ionosphere does perturb satellite signals, but very little. Anything else?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
The class A, B, C, D, obviously the lower ones have to, change their antenna or throttle down, but do the class A's and then just run at whatever their, 50 kilowatts and they just leave it there all the time? Or?
That's what their Class A station is. They're 50,000 watts, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And then just the weather is what it is.
Whatever it is, okay? And if they interfere with, if ABC interferes with KABC, tough, in the middle of the country.
I wasn't sure if they were just trying to hit a circle and,
Well, they're not, no, it's not for daytime. The daytime is going to be limited by how far you are from the tower.
Yeah, okay.
So that's going to be maybe 50, 75 miles. It's the nighttime that there would not, probably not a station, there might be a station in Chicago on the same frequency, but there's not going to be one in Pennsylvania on the same frequency, because then they would interfere with each other at nighttime. Okay. If you go to the, I think there was a reference to Wikipedia on the Clear Channel stations. You go to Wikipedia and they'll describe some of that. Okay. I tried to put in references of things within the talk. Yes.
When you used to hear stations interfering with each other, if I'm remembering correctly, you used to hear heterodyning.
Yes.
And you don't really hear that anymore. Is that because the accuracy has been improved?
Well, it used to be that every transmitter had a crystal oscillator in it, and then they had to periodically check the frequency. Now everybody's slave to GPS.
And the heterodyne is probably...
It's not there. I mean, everybody's on the same frequency. So there's a GPS unit that will pick up the GPS signals and synthesize a precise frequency standard, which then locks everything in the transmitter to the frequency. I mean, every cell phone tower today has a GPS receiver in it to lock the frequency on. And I was thinking about this the other day. If GPS shut down, I'm not so sure the cell phone system might not shut down too, because then all of a sudden everything would be slightly off frequency and start causing some detrimental interference. Everything's precise. In the cell phone network, everything's precisely controlled. So everybody's talking at the right level to not interfere with other people and everything else, and on the right frequencies and the right timing. And if they lose the timing, which is all GPS based, I mean, they probably have a high precision standard, but I don't know how many days it would take to start drifting off frequency.
Do you know when the broadcast stations started transitioning from crystal oscillators to the GPS?
No. I know I mean, you could always buy a cesium standard and use that, but that was, it was $10,000 or $20,000. I don't know. I guess let's see. I guess in the early 90s, selective availability was turned off. And that's when GPS started being able to be used for civilian use. It's still not as accurate as military, but still, it's accurate enough. GPS is about good for plus or minus 10 meters. That's why there's that little circle on your screen on the navigation screen on your car. That's the error bar for GPS. And you can see it if you go on the parkway. Sometimes it thinks you're in the express lane when you're on the local lane or vice versa, because it's the error.
They're talking about giving us more accuracy,
yeah. Well, yes, but then then it makes it easier for drones to work. It's only recently that people started building drones with bombs in them. We're always worried about ICBMs and stuff like that, but now we're worried about several $100 drones being able to do precision bombing. Okay, I think that's about it.
Lights, please, lights. Listen, Joe, don't go away. Listen, we really, really enjoyed this, all right? And I hope to be able to tap you in the near future with another presentation. You're a wealth of information. Really, really amazing guy.
At the Makerspace, which I've been involved with, at the CDO Makerspace, since I retired, I've given a whole bunch of presentations there on a whole variety of topics, including some astronomy ones. You're welcome to go on my GitHub site and look up some of the talks I've been there. We try to have that every other month. We try to have a technical talk on Monday nights. We don't always make it every other month, but we've had a lot of them. I gave one a couple of years ago on vacuum tube. Most of the younger guys don't know anything about vacuum tubes. So I put together a talk on vacuum tubes, and I brought along a regenerative receiver. And there was a very nice gentleman in the audience who pointed out to me that Armstrong had demonstrated his regenerative receiver design in the red building across the room, across the hall, and that was Jules. You know, I don't think he needed to hear the talk on vacuum tubes. Maybe he was fact checking me. I don't know. Jules and I used to work together. I've given a talk on what kind of a software radio you might buy. I didn't give a talk on how to design them, which I've done, but some of the guys in the Makerspace want me to do a class on DSPs and software radios. But John Savini, I did a basic electronics class for the Makerspace a few weeks ago, and John Savini is now trying to get me to package that into a class that we can give to students who can take it to their local schools. So I'm going to have to do some rewriting, but I've been holding off doing that until I do this. I've given a bunch of talks at the Garden State Club, as well as teaching some classes here at the Makerspace.
Thank you again, Joe. Thanks so much. All right, folks, we have an auction, a small auction, thanks to Ed Papson. He brought in some items, so please join JD Auction Services at the auction site, which happens to be right close to you. I guess I will be.